Okay, people. I'm going to show you the sample of the 2010 Family Tree DVD. Unlike the Family Bible, you have the DVD version, and it's much easier. This is the 2010 version. Next year, I'm going to create the 2015 version. So, you put the DVD in. Now, at that particular time, in 2010, there were how many names? Let me zoom in. It was created April 1st, 2010. There were 2,621 names at that particular time. This is a particular title I used at that particular time. I have since changed. Now, there are differences between the DVD version and the online version. I'll show you. There are more features on the online version. All right, so you click to continue. This is the DVD version. And this is what the 2010 version looked like. All right, you have an individual's name. Let's say, for example, let me go to my paternal grandmothers. Okay, let's say Young. I'll find Young. All right. Now and again, this is 2010. There are more names now than there were in 2010 on the family tree. Every week there are names added. All right, I'm looking for my grandmother. Young. Okay, there's grandmother. This is my father's mother. These are the children. Now, let's say if I go to my great-grandfather, my grandmother's father, I click his name, and this is his parents, these are his children. I'll click his father's name, my great-grandfather and his siblings. And let's say if I click one of his siblings' names and his children. Now, again, you might even go and somebody's name is missing. Well, you just update that information. Those will have their information updated by next year, before I make the 2015 version. All of that information will be on that particular DVD. Now, as I mentioned a few minutes ago about the difference between the DVD and the family and the online version, this is the online version. There are more features on the online version. For example, if you want to find out on the online version how individuals are related, you could use the relationship status, add one name here, one name there. Let's say, for example, I'm going to use, let's say, find my name, Graham, Graham. Give me a second. I go to G's. And let's say Daryl. D-A-R, there go my name. Now let's find another name. What could I put? Alright. Okay, I'll use this name. So, I'll use Stacy's name. That's just because I was texting her last night. And if the link is not too long, it'll tell you how the individuals are linked. Like here's my name, my father's name, my grandmother's name, my great-grandmother's name, my grandmother's sister, my grandmother's son, my grandmother's sister's son, my grandmother's sister's granddaughter, my grandmother's sister's great-grandson, his grandson, and his mother. This is the link. It shows you the link. Now, the DVD, you won't get that, but for the most part, it'll tell you all the information that we see here. May not be in this particular form because, again, it's a different format. But for the most part, I've seen a lot of family trees where they just have a list of names, but it doesn't tell you how the persons are related. For example, let's go back. Okay, I'm going to go, let's say, Graham again. Graham. We could use, we could say Dodd. Let me go on the Dodds. This is the DVD version. And you look up the Dodds. And let me see, give me a second. I'll use eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll just use pumpkin. Alright, now. Alright, so we have Pumpkin's father's side and Pumpkin's mother's side. If we click her mother's side, alright, and this is her mother's side. Then we click her mother's, let's say her mother's father's side. Now, this is the 2010 version. At that particular time, I only had one name listed. That was Jackie's name. Now, if we go to the updated version on the family tree, on the actual family tree, and I look for those names again, let's say, let me look up distance. Now, first we only had how many? On the DVD version, we only had 2 distance, or give or take 2 or 3 distance. And let me see, give me 1 second. Alright, people. Look for distance. Alright. Distance. Okay, on a family tree, DVD of 2010, we only had 3 distance. Now, on the family tree, as of today, August 1st, 2014, if we look up distance, we went from 3 distance. Let me see, distance to 14 distance. So, and the more you add, the more there will be. There are going to be situations where you may have an individual with the question marks. Well, normally, if you don't know an individual's last name, you use question marks. You may not know the first name, you use question marks. So, and you do that because you may not know the father's name, but you may know the children. And in order to connect the children, you need like a little spacer there. So you use the question marks to connect the children's names, so on and so forth. Some people may not want to add their deadbeat dad, but you have to add, it is what it is. That's why I created that group. It is what it is. You may not even know the dad's name, but again, you may know his children's name. Well, in order to link the children successfully and correctly, you need something there to link, and that's the father. That's the common link, or the mother, depending on who we're talking about. Now, on a family tree, on a DVD version, that's the phone ringing. I'm not going to answer. If you want to look up events like birthdays. Okay, events, birthdays. And now this is the 2010 version. Now, there are more birthdays that have been added on the family tree since then. Now, I like the list. Opposed to the calendar, I like the list. Okay. And there are more, like today is April, and these are the birthdays in April. And again, as long as the information is updated on time, this is what you will see. And again, this is much better than that old family Bible that most people don't see. And normally it's a bunch of names. I've seen a family tree online where they have a bunch of names. It doesn't tell you how the person's related. A lot of people go to family events and reunions. They don't know how to relate it. They're sitting, oh, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. Don't know nothing about the relationship, how they're related or whatever. Well, with the DVD or online, that's not the case. You can find out how you're related. You can look and see how many children the person has. They say, well, why do you put the fathers or both parents? Because both parents are linked. For every name you add to a family tree, you automatically generate a slot for the person's mother, the person's father, the person's children, even if he had outside children. Again, it is what it is. This is unfortunate to many because you don't see family trees. They want to pick and choose. Well, this is a real tree. You add everybody. You can almost link the entire city of Baltimore to the same tree, especially a little town like Cumberland, Maryland. Most people up there related one way or the other. I mean, it's all in the family tree. It's connecting the dots. If you take a deck of cards and throw them up in the air, and when they land, you connect them or put them back in order. Well, it's just like a family tree. It's just a matter of finding out how this individual is linked to that individual. You might be related to my nephew. Well, if my nephew is related to me, and you are related to my nephew, then you're linked to the tree. It is what it is. You may have 7 children by 7 different brothers. Well, you may not be the best person in the world, but hey, it is what it is. And that's why your name would be on a family tree. Some people say, I don't want her on my tree. Well, again, it is what it is. Now, for those of you who want to get your information in to be updated and added to the 2015 version, I suggest you get it done between now and next year. Last time I made one, almost 5 years ago, the 2010 version. If you want to become an administrator, let me know, and I'll help you in preparing and adding information. I always tell people, rule number 1, don't add photos. Why? Because there's only enough space for 5,000 photos. 5,000 photos is nothing. That's nothing, because if you got 1,000 people who want to add 10 photos each, that's 10,000. So to avoid that, I tell people don't add pictures. I go back and sometimes they will add. I find out who add. I'll remove them from the administrator's list. They can't add any more information. And I'll remove the photos. There's another place where you can add photos, but I'll tell you about that later. But again, if you want to become an administrator, just let me know, and I'll show you how you can add your mother's side, your father's side, your children's side, your children's father's side, your children's mother's side, so on and so forth. And why all of that is important, because it's a family tree. It's a real family tree. It's not one of those family trees where you want to have one name at the top. This is why, for example, it's called, this is the newest name, the AZ Universal All-Included Family Tree. I use that AZ. They're the names, the surnames between A through Z. That includes everybody. You don't just have one surname up there, because, again, that's not a family tree. That's a pedigree. When you focus on that one name, the bloodline, that's a pedigree. Too often people think a pedigree is a family tree. In a family tree, you may have hundreds of pedigrees, hundreds of bloodlines. The tree is when you can connect correctly all the bloodlines. And that's enough for right now. I thank you and enjoy your day.